My name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. And today I'm here with Miss Nikesha Ellis Williams. Is that Elise
Elise.
Williams? So, Miss Nikesha, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing perfect. So, if you will, share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is, as you said, Nikesha Elise Williams. I am a former television producer, so I'm an Emmy Award-winning producer, an award-winning author, a journalist. I'm also the author of the novel, The Seven Daughters of Dupree, which came out about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Congratulations. One on every accomplishment God has allowed you to do. This is it's rewarding to see our people do things that we do.
Thank you.
So, if you will, share a little bit about what your book is about and what made you create the book that you created.
So the novel The Seven Daughters of Dupree is about the secrets kept between mothers and daughters over the course of 7 generations, and it's told backwards in time from 1995 to 1860. The novel opens in 1995 on the south side of Chicago, which is where I'm from, with 14-year-old Tatiana, and it is her birthday. But before she can go out and celebrate with her mom and her best friend Desiree, she has to go down into the basement where her mother Nadia runs a beauty salon. And the client for that morning is Tati's grandmother, Gladys. She comes over every Sunday morning before she goes to church. And you would think that in this basement salon with 3 generations that, Gladys and Nadia will be like passing down words of encouragement, words of wisdom, like just really giving Tati the game. And that is not happening because Tati has a lot of anger and angst for her grandmother and her mother, and that's because they are keeping a secret from her. She desperately wants to know the identity of her father, and they just refuse to tell her. And so that is the very first secret in the line of Dupree women that stretches all the way back to the fictional town of Land's End, Alabama in 1860, where the first in their line lived. But they don't know anything about this woman. They only know the legend of how she died. And that legend is the very first line of the novel, which is the prologue. They cut off her head because she ran. And from that line, I know it's very aggressive.
No,
But
no,
from
I
that
actually
line,
like this.
it
I
but
love the fact that you put history in there. Go ahead.
yes, the novel is historical fiction. So like from that line, you know that we're going to deal with enslavement, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the Great Migration, the movement from the South to the North, and then what that journey looks like, and then ultimately healing and reparation, what it looks like to come back in the very end.
Once again, thank you for putting history in there because it's important that we document our history, whether it's nonfiction or fiction. But the fact that you have integrated history into it is, I see why the work is getting the highlight that it's getting,
Thank you.
and that's important. What made you go from that perspective?
It wasn't intentional. Like when I started the novel, it was because I wanted to write a story about a girl who didn't know her father. And as I started writing that version of the novel, and I thought it was going to be completely and entirely from Tatiana's perspective, from like 14 to 19, I got bored with her and she wasn't doing enough. I liked her, I was interested in her, but she could not sustain an entire novel. And so I stopped her portion at a specific section. I jumped into her mother's point of view, found out the backstory between the mother and the father, and then brought it to a resolution. And the grandmother Gladys was always there. She was always in the background with her one-liners and sardonic jabs at her granddaughter and her daughter. And she had this line in the very first draft that was like, what happens to light-skinned women in the South? And I wrote past it and I finished the first draft. And then I said to myself, well, damn, what happened to Gladys? Right. And I had this vision that's now like the cover of the book of this woman walking down a dirt road with this white dress on. And I knew it was Gladys. And then I needed the vision to get a little bit wider. And then I saw what was behind her. And I was like, oh, okay. And then maybe weeks or months later, I was listening to a friend of mine on a podcast talking about teaching this workshop about writing your best first line. And so then I asked myself the same question, what would my best first line be? And then that's when that line came to me. They cut off her head because she ran. And as soon as it hit me, I kid you not, I knew what the end of the novel was going to be. I knew what was going to happen to the enslaved ancestor. And so then I just had to kind of fill in the gaps. So like I had Tati, I had Nadia, I had Gladys, and I knew I had to write something from her perspective. I knew I had an enslaved ancestor, and I knew what her story was going to be. So I had 4 of the generations, right? And so I was like, well, went to my religious background, like, 7 is the number of completion. I'll do 7 women, 7 generations, 7 chapters for each of them. That was the way I thought of it. To like just get myself into the mode of preparing to expand the story as big as I did. And so once I had that guiding principle and I filled in that I was going to do 7 and I already had 4, I kind of just like asked, well, what are your names? Um, what are your issues? And I wanted to look at it as like turning points, like what happened in their lives as women that changed them fundamentally. Like you almost see the character break in the novel, that when you meet them as young women or young girls, they're one way, and when you meet them as adults, they're another way. And it's because of either something that happened to them or something that they chose, and it was no fault of their own, but maybe the outcome was not something that they wanted, right? And then I wanted to explore on the other side of that turning point, how do you survive? How do you thrive? What do you do for work? Where do you live? Where do you go? What is your relationship with your family? And also, how do you parent?
Mm. Now, question:
Okay.
Does any of this tie to you? Because I'm assuming all, but I asked the question is because from past to now, you've did quite a few things.
I find I like to write the truth in fiction. Um, the novel started with me and me wanting to explore my complex relationships with my father, which is why the novel started with Tati not knowing her dad. But Tati is immediately not me because she doesn't know her father at all. And I was
Mhm.
raised with my father, like in the house. I know who
Mm.
he is, right? To as well as we can know a person. And so giving Tati the angst and the anger that I had at that age, giving her my emotionality and my interiority was very easy. But the way that it comes out for her is not the way that I expressed it. The poetry writing that's in the novel is one of my expressions, but how she feels toward her mother and her unknown father is very different from who I am as a person.
Mhm. So you have been a writer for a while then because you do poetry.
Yeah.
Good to know. So you also intertwined bits and pieces of your emotions, but also your poetry in the book as well.
So there are 4 poems in the book. 3 of them are from Tati, and one is from Nadia. And they're original poems that I wrote in the voice of the character.
It's this is I'm not gonna say that I have never seen a book that way, but it's almost like this the first of I've ever spoken to someone who's putting poetry inside their book from the character's position. So I actually find that very enlightening.
Thank you. It's just it was true to the character. I can't even say if it was a craft choice. It was true to the character, so I did it.
Um, I'm assuming you have another book that is coming soon or that will be coming.
I'm working on something. I don't know how soon it's going to be coming out. Like this book just hit the world January 27th. But I am working on something else. Yes.
Okay. The only reason why I said soon could be look, it could be off a year from now, but I know it just felt like something else was there.
Yeah, there are 2 projects that I'm really excited about. One, I'm like trying to make my way through the second draft. I'm almost at the halfway point. And the other one is one that's been ideating for a good while. I have a plan for it. I'm really excited about it, but like I didn't want to finish one before I can start the other. And I'm still gotta put the feet to the fire for the 7 Daughters of Dupree and make as sure as many people read it as possible. Buy the book, get the book, read the book, share the book, love it, talk to your friends about it, all the things.
Um, I also want to ask, how has the journey been? Because as a published author, most people who have not written or who are not published by a publishing company, they don't actually know what it's like to be an author, going and doing speaking engagements, the whole nine. What has it been like for you?
It's been a very long journey. So like this isn't it's my traditional debut. It's my big 5 debut, but this is my 8th book. I started writing seriously, I guess I should say, in 2013. I started working on what became my first self-published novel that came out in 2017. I self-published 5 novels in a poetry collection between 2017 and 2020, all under my own company and my own imprint. Under the imprint that I founded, New Reads Publications, I also published other authors and their books. Um, and I, again, like I said, I used to work in television as a television news producer. I left TV in 2019 to try to figure out what writing could do for me. And during that time, between 2019 and 2022, I freelanced for those 3 years, wrote a lot of different stories and articles for different publications, just relying on my journalism background, but in a different way. As I was working on my seventh book, which was Mardi Gras Indians, which is a nonfiction book about the Black masking Indians of New Orleans and that tradition and culture, and then what became the Seven Daughters of Dupree. So it's been a very long journey to be a debut, but like I've been working and grinding for years.
Yeah, glad you broke that down because now I get to ask, what was it like being a self-published author?
Hard work, long days, long nights, no sleep, spending my money on as much on what I could to promote myself and go to different book festivals and street fairs and markets and things and selling books out the trunk of my car with the square reader in my purse. Like it was a hustle. Um and it is one path that people can take. And while I was doing it, I did enjoy it. And even when it was hard, when there were flight delays and weather things, when I was going out to different events and all the other stuff, I was trying to find my way to where I am now. And what I learned, because I have my own podcast, Black and Published, what I've learned from interviewing other authors, especially Black authors, is that none of our journeys are the same. Even those who go through MFA programs, even those who go to big marquee fellowships and residencies and all these other things, or get major grants or whatever the case may be, all of our journeys are unique. And the way that we get to a certain place where we consider it successful, or where the outside world may say that that's success, is very different.
I appreciate that because as a self-published author and hearing how you have grinded it out or hustled it out, um, I have much respect for how you have done from self-published to publishing company and creating your own.
Thank you.
Uh, these things are need to be highlighted because guess what? There's a lot of us out here. There's a lot of people who want to write and they have no idea what it's like. But being able to hear the stories of those who have accomplished or who have success to their eyes or success to just the personal to the author's eyes, it's important for them to understand what it's like to be. And to
Mm-hmm.
your point, being one who have spoken to many authors, you're right. Everybody has a different journey, and those journeys are special. So
Mm-hmm.
before we leave, I do want to ask two things. Give me a word of wisdom for anybody who uh, may be starting, maybe already in their journey. Give me a word of wisdom for anybody. And then last thing, tell them where they can buy all y'all books and make sure y'all go get all 8 of her books because hey, she didn't put the work in. Yes, don't just go get the one that the last one. Get every one of them.
A word of encouragement, I would say stay focused. Um, a lot of time as you're on your journey toward whatever you're going toward, you can be distracted by other people's journeys, especially with social media, especially being an artist, a writer, musician, whatever. When you work in the arts field, you become colleagues with people and you don't want to see them as competition. So stay focused, keep your eyes on your own paper, run your race, do your journey. It's a lot of platitudes that I'm saying right now, and it's a hell of a lot easier said than done. It's a note to self that I have to remind myself of every day. But yeah, it's a lot of platitudes that it sounds like, but it's really true. You can only do what you can do. You have to stay focused on your journey, your path, your race. It's not going to look like somebody else's. It's a note to self. I have to remind myself of this every day, to like focus on me and focus on what I'm doing and not to be distracted by anyone else. And that focus along with my discipline and ambition is what keeps me going. As far as where to get my books, please go out and get The Seven Daughters of Dupree. It's available now everywhere books are sold. If you want to support an indie bookstore, go to your local indie bookstore or order from bookshop.org. If Amazon is more convenient, by all means go to Amazon. And then you can find me and all of my books on my website, www.newrights.com. That's NEWWRITES.com.
Look, y'all get her signature. Look, go to her website, get the other seven. But everywhere books are sold, go get the other one. I want to thank you for your time, for your ambition, for your wisdom and your knowledge that God has blessed you with to be able to create. There's a verse in the Bible I'm gonna leave you with. It says your gift will make room for you and put you before great men, and that included
Amen.
women. And you are using your gift to just do that, inspire people. So from me to you, I do want to tell you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, and this is Miss Nikesha Elise Williams. Blessings.
Blessings. Peace.